All right, everybody. It is a Monday morning. Excuse me. I just all choked up because I get to be back on the show here with Captain Universe, Mark
Yeah.
Puttenvink. And that was my fault for last week. We were going to do a show. I was very rude to Mark, and I apologize for that.
No, it's all right.
Well, I had forgotten, and then it was obviously Memorial Day, and I was hanging out
Memorial
with my
Day,
family.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
how you doing there, Captain Universe? You're just one universe, or you're not captain of all the universes?
Well, we're just going to start with this first one here
Okay.
and see how it goes.
See how it goes.
It's a lot of work.
See if you want the burden.
Exactly.
Right. It's not whether they want you or not. Just obviously want you. Which is,
because I'm kind of like at the semi-retired part now. So
right. You'll
when
never
you're-
retire. You'll never retire, right?
Yeah, no.
Can you imagine retiring?
No.
I mean, like everybody does their own thing. I'm not picking on people that do retire, but to sit around and do nothing all the time. Oh man, that's
Well, I
tough.
think the people that plan it out are successful. So they go, okay, I'm going to retire, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to travel.
Yeah.
I'm going to volunteer some time.
Right.
I'm going to go see the grandchildren. I don't have grandchildren.
Yep.
I'm already volunteering and I'm not retired.
And
besides
are you a
that-
travel guy too?
Well, I love to go places. I just hate the travel part.
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
Like
I
Beth
know.
and I leave this Friday for Salt Lake City. We're
Oh,
going to
yeah.
a wedding. Yeah, we got a wedding there Saturday, and then the following week we're doing this national. I mean, the parks there are just
Yeah.
indescribable. So the following week we'll be hiking and stuff like that. But I just dread the airport and
I know.
the flight itself and getting your luggage and getting in an Uber and all that. But
And both of us are Mr. Positive, but I'll tell you, people are getting more
Yeah.
and more rude to each other. Like there's just
oh
driving on the roads, in the airports, flights.
Yeah.
Ooh.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very you got to really. You and I were just talking before. Try to reserve our inner
Oh.
passion to correct things we don't agree with.
Oh,
Let's
I
put
know.
it that way.
So last Memorial Day, hanging out here, gone to see the family a little bit, came back here. And of course, it's a nice day. So our neighbors decided to have the dog Pepper outside.
Yeah.
And I took it for a while. And then finally, I go from 0 to 100, right? So it's just went to the door, lost my mind. Shut the dog up. I'm yelling at.
Yeah,
I feel bad because the woman goes, I'm sorry. And I'm like, oh, God.
You
I
remember
wish she'd yelled at me instead.
you remember the champ, right? The Canadian race.
Yeah.
That guy was awesome.
What's that?
He was awesome. The way he'd be fine, and then he'd
Oh.
misinterpret what somebody was saying, and I just lost it.
Yeah.
It's-
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Larry Melnick is showing up here. Long lost Larry Melnick. Apparently, he sold his house on Melnick Mountain. I like to travel. I like to travel to New York. My friend told me. So again, here's what he does. Okay, just here's why I procrastinate here, because I think maybe he'll change his mind. So last time around, I went and set it up with Jackie DiPiazza that does all our stuff with the alumni stuff for the Rangers.
Yeah.
Wonderful human being. And then Larry steps in and starts going partway down the making the plans, and then all of a sudden changes his mind. So I do. Here's I'm getting frustrated. So Larry's got this thing when you talk to him, he'll get on and he'll go, nay, nay, nay. So when I'm driving now, because the way people have been driving, I drive by.
You give him the
and
finger.
I go, nay, nay, nay. And I'm smiling the whole time. He must be looking at me like, what a jerk this guy is. Now I know you know this already, but I thought it was a fantastic video. I maybe sent it to you, maybe I didn't. So I saw a video of this gentleman, and he's explaining to another younger man. He says, basically, your brain is a pharmacy.
Mhm.
And if you are feeling good about yourself, the endorphins get released. He's talking about all these proteins that get released based on very positive mindset. And
Right.
he says, this isn't just theories, this is science. So when
Yeah.
you feel better about yourself, it's really interesting the way he put it about how it actually works physically. It isn't just that some theory that you feel better when you think better thoughts.
Mhm.
It's actually scientifically work. I thought it was very cool. I know you know that, but it's good.
Well, it's interesting you bring this topic up because yesterday I was watching a documentary on food and how it's affected where we are today. So, for instance, 19th century, I should say, 1 in 10,000 people were diabetic. 1 in 10,000.
Wow.
It's now 1 in 11.
Wow.
1 in 11. Type 2 diabetes, which is completely lifestyle. And so it's what we consume, what we eat, that's creating this type 2 diabetes. So he laid out the history of mankind from Homo erectus, which was like in
Careful that word
Mesopotamia.
there.
Yeah, I know. Well, Homo means man. So,
Yeah.
Anyhow, in the Middle East, kind of Mesopotamia, and then they started to travel up a little, kind of went towards Asia and then up north to Europe. But what it followed was the eating pattern, carnivorous, and then when we started to introduce grain and how that affected our health along the way. So one of the things that really jumped out to me is omega-3. And omega-3 gave us, and it's only in meats, it's only in carnivore, that it doubled our brain size. The omega-3 fatty acids double our brain size. So without that, we would never have been able to create tools, because that's what really separated us from the rest of the animals, was we could create tools and build stuff. So it's just fascinating. And I go to see my friend Dr. Mike Evangel. He works on my shoulders and stuff. He's fantastic. But he said to me that like 95% of Americans are omega-3 deficient. Wow. So yeah, and this could lead to like the emotional issues and mental clarity and things of that nature. It really affects us more than we realize, what we consume, especially what we eat, how it affects our brain.
Right. Because, and it's in fish, right? Too, like salmon. Is it in salmon?
Yeah. You could supplement it, or you could eat a lot of salmon or whatever. But yeah, we're just 95% is a lot of people that are deficient in it.
Yeah. And that's just type 2 diabetes, right? The obesity.
Well, we're talking about two different things here. So the omega-3s is for the brain and emotion and just overall well-being. The type 2 diabetes is strictly lifestyle. So we all, like I tell people, I'm not the first one to say this, but if you look at like people on the beach in the 70s even, right? Everyone was thin. You saw the occasional person who might have been a little bit overweight. Now it's epidemic. It's epidemic. And it's going to crush our ability to provide healthcare, because it's because it's an epidemic, and we're all going to pay for it. It costs money,
Right. And it's all, and I don't think this is conspiracy. I think it's fact. I mean, these large companies that make money off us being sick, they don't want us to not be diabetic and overweight. They want us to be. That's a trillions of dollars of business for them, right?
So there are some people that even feel that whether it was conspiracy or it just turned out this way, you got the food industry and the pharmaceutical industry. Food industry gets you sick. Pharmaceutical industry gives you quote unquote medicines that band-aid, instead of remove the pharmaceuticals, remove that processed food, and only eat real food, and you're going to see results that are healthy.
It's interesting. It's the FDA, right? The Food and Drug Administration, the two.
Wow. So, and again, we've talked about this before, about when you look at studies, when you look at research, see who's funding it.
Yeah.
Because if you read something that says that oatmeal reduces cholesterol, that's scientifically not fact.
Right.
It doesn't reduce cholesterol, but that research was funded by oatmeal. Like I don't know who it was, but
here's as soon as somebody sends it out there, then everybody else just grabs it and goes.
Well, see, and again, you have to really be careful when you read this stuff, because here's how it worked: the people that went to an oatmeal diet had high cholesterol, right? But they were eating foods that were very poor choices in the morning. A lot of processed foods, a lot of really over sugar, all this kind of stuff that going to decrease your health. So when you remove that and put anything in that's a lot better, you're going to see reduction in blood lipids and everything else like that. Right. So it's not really the oatmeal. My point is, it wasn't the oatmeal that causes, it was a removal of all that other junk they were eating. Yeah.
That's amazing, right? You think about it, like watching TV at night, all the advertisements for terrible food, the processed meats, Wendy's cheeseburgers.
It's one right after it's amazing. It's a McDonald's, and I'm not picking on McDonald's. I don't care who it is. You have a fast food commercial, and then immediately followed by some drug you can't even pronounce.
Yeah.
And it's going to do this for you, and then in real low term side effects. Blah, blah, blah. And it's like a mile long, and you're going, why would I take that?
Isn't it true? Like if we really paid attention to what the things could be.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah. Oh, and this is on topic, off topic. Apparently, there's a chemical in receipts. When you get a receipt in a store, that causes men to lose. I don't know the mechanics behind this, but it gets transdermally into your body. It shrinks the size of your livelihood, so to speak.
Really? Come on.
Yeah. Oh, swear to God. It's kind of common known now. So, like when I go through the quick check, and you receive, I go, no, I'm good. I'm good.
Come on, are you serious about that?
Dead serious. Google it.
They put it in, or is there something?
Yeah, it's some kind of whatever the chemical that's on the receipts. When you're grabbing things transdermally, you absorb it.
Right.
And they say that it reduces size. And can't have that.
That's why Larry Melnick has been staying at home all the time. Oh, okay. Right.
So when you go grocery shopping or shopping or anything, either wear gloves for the receipt or just go email it to me. We're good.
That's funny. That is excellent. That is funny. Margaret Ling is chiming in here. She works in the healthcare BPA, is that what it is?
BPA. Yeah,
Oh,
she's right. Absolutely.
good job,
And
Margaret.
if you look on certain plastics, it'll say BPA free. Especially when you buy a reusable container, like if you're going to go camping or whatever, make sure if it's not glass, make sure it's BPA free.
Oh, that's the
Yeah.
chemical that everybody's worried
Yeah.
about with the. So
Yeah.
I get those Tupperware things from Costco.
Yeah, you'll see. They'll put a designation somewhere on the
Right.
packaging if it is BPA free. But thank you. Yeah, thank you for that. She's
Good
absolutely
job,
correct.
Margaret. Good
Yeah.
job, Margaret. Intelligent woman
And
there.
you would think BPA would stand for bigger. Never mind. But it's just the opposite.
Bigger penis approach.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So weather's getting nicer now. Out in the
Yeah.
sun. Do you believe in all those theories like being out in front of the sunrise, the sunset near the water, and all that?
100%.
Right.
100%. And again, to go back to Brendan Duffy, this is all about our circadian rhythm.
Yeah.
And and whether you knew this or not, what you do is absolutely the best thing you can do. First thing in the morning, get up, put your clothes on, go for a walk. And the sun, and think about this too. You're not hopefully cluttered yet by all the electronic jamming we're getting with reading the news and social media and everything like that. It's really beneficial.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to do a lot of time like watching reels and stories on Instagram and Facebook. Some real motivational stuff there.
Oh yeah.
David Coggins, obviously a former Navy SEAL, retired Navy SEal. He's also wasn't he in the Army as well?
He was in the Air Force prior
Force.
to and he was 300 pounds.
Right. So great. I mean, listen, total respect for him. Just admire him to death for what he's done in the past and what he does now. But his message is kind of hard, right? Like for the average Joe to follow him and do what he does, it's just not going to work.
So probably the average Joe is not aware of David Coggins.
Right.
But then again, it's with anything, it's not one size fits all.
Yeah.
So he is really great at sending his message and getting his message across to people that are receptive to that type of that feed off that. Like you and I would feed off being pushed hard because we've been competitive and we other people you have to motivate them in other ways.
Right. Yeah, like he's really that. Like he's saying the longest run he ever did was like a 205-mile run.
Oh yeah, he's
yeah.
I read his book and it was, and he talks about he was looking to do a fundraiser for I forget the name of it's a group down in Florida, and what they do is they provide educational funding for people who have lost their family that were special operators. Right? Escapes now, a great foundation. He wanted to raise money for them, so he found this 135-mile race, 24-hour race through the desert. He called up and he goes, "I want to do this." And the guy says, "Well, you just can't show up. You have to, first of all, have completed at least 100-mile in 24 hours or less."
I saw a video on this.
Yeah.
An interview. Yes.
So he said, "Okay." So like he went to the track, and they had this 100-mile race on the track. So it's 400 laps, right? Am I doing the math right? Yeah, 400 laps. And so he gets there and he goes, "All I brought was a folding chair, some Ritz crackers, and a bottle of water."
Yeah.
And like so. Jerry Eisler, I think I'm pronouncing his name right, who's a really wealthy dude. He made his money, and he's a real kind of motivating guy now too, and does all this kind of super marathon races. But anyhow, he walks up to Goggins and goes, "Dude, where's your team?" He goes, "What do you mean? Where's the rest of the guys?" "It's a 4-man race." He goes, "It's just me." He goes, "I got to mile 70. I was peeing blood. Both of my feet were just gone, shredded." I think he had something, but anyhow, so at mile 70, he sat down in that folding chair, and his wife at the time was a nurse. She said, "You're about to die." And he stood up and he goes, "You know what? It's 30 miles. I'll walk it." Right. So he gets up and he goes, I don't know, something took over my whole spirit. And not only did he complete the run, I don't know, whatever he did, but so he got home and like just was jacked up. But the point is, that 135-mile race was like 2 weeks later. Yeah. I'm sorry, 2 weeks later, he did a full marathon in Chicago because he had promised his mother and father he'd do it with him or something. Right. So this guy,
yeah,
he's
just over the top. Like he actually, I saw Joe Rogan and was sitting having a conversation with him too, saying how like he's intentionally putting himself through into these dark places. And he talked about how that's where you really learn the most, in those dark places, or you learn about yourself when everything's neat and comfortable. So you don't learn much about yourself, right? It's just,
again, it's individual because that's what he feeds off of. Maybe you do things different. I do things different. Point is, we all have to find what makes us really get down the packs. What makes us want to do what we do that's going to be good for us, as opposed to, I was talking to somebody over the weekend. Sometimes a lot of people get stuck in this work, sleep kind of cycle. All we do is work, and all we do is sleep. Well, sometimes it becomes work and drink cycle, or work and abuse a substance cycle, or whatever it might be. And we have to find something that it's going to make us alive and want to do it. Whether it's volunteering your time, whether it's an activity, playing golf, or sports in general, working out, whatever it is, you need to find what works for you. And for Goggins, he likes to be in that dark place because you need to be able to do that as a SEAL for sure. And again, just what works for us.
Definitely. So on this past Thursday, I had a couple of fantastic events this past weekend. Excuse me. On Thursday, I was in Flushing, Queens. It's school PS20.
Yeah, I saw that. It was awesome.
Yeah, man. It was a terrible story. This beloved gym teacher got run over. He was walking across the street, got hit by a motorcycle. Yeah. And it was really interesting to see. The family was all there. The kids were all there, but it really wasn't like a sad thing where they were mourning his loss. They were more celebrating his life. I thought it was really cool. The way
exactly.
Yeah, you could tell, obviously, especially the parents, really missed him, but they were having fun. His mother, I was flirting with her. I said, "Oh, you're a gorgeous baby." All that. She was having fun, and I think it was better, right? Instead of sitting around. Obviously they've had their morning time, but it's now it's.
I've already told Beth, when I tap out, I don't want the usual.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Man, just go to a restaurant, invite everybody, put a photo up of me, and throw darts at it, whatever. But have fun, man, and enjoy it.
Yeah, think about all the great things you did in your life, right? That's the key to it. You got to really have to live your life, so when that does happen,
and also all the screw ups. I mean, it's part of being human. Yeah.
So there's another funny video where I guess an older gentleman knew he was dying, so he did a recording of him saying, like, pretending he was in the grave. And hey, get me out of here, he's saying like this. And people all standing around and just like listening to it. At first, what's going on? Like, is this guy really trapped in the coffin? But no, he had taped it. They come across with the banner. Sure. I thought that was fantastic. I'd love to do something like that. That'd be hilarious, right?
Yeah, you got to be creative.
Yeah.
Have some way to send out a text message to everybody who's there.
Yeah.
I'll be right back or something.
Yeah. I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Just messing with you.
But isn't that the way to go, right? I mean, all that stuff about like crying and everything, especially if you've really lived a good life, like if you've led a good life.
Yeah, I mean, I watched this other on YouTube. It's way over my pay grade, but it's a lot of much brighter people than I'll ever be. But they talk about just your spirit and does it really carry on and all this stuff like that. But we're all going to meet that final end. Nobody beats it. So. But there's such a fear of it, and it's natural. I mean, we're all very afraid of it. But
are you afraid of dying?
It depends on how. Like, I mean, it's a weird thought because we don't probably think about it that much, right? I think what I read a quote a while back was, it's not longevity, it's health longevity.
Yeah.
Right. It's just just not a number. It's, you want to be healthy. You don't want to get sick. You don't want to be debilitated, but you have some control over it. And the biggest control is what we were just talking about, what you eat, and if you're active, it reduces the odds. But everybody's afraid of dying. I mean,
but I don't think I am afraid. I really tried to think to myself, okay, what will it be like? I watched my father die a terrible death. He had Alzheimer's. My mother the same way.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't want to go like that. My poor mother, she had the cancer, and then they gave her all the treatments. At one point, she was just laying in her bed there, and her leg broke just laying in bed.
Yeah.
And, that's like,
you
look back, and it's easy to say this now after the fact, but think, should she have done all the treatments?
Right. Yeah.
But I guess you can't just give in to it.
No, you got to try.
Yeah. So up in Canada now, you may know this, they've legalized suicide, assisted suicide.
Yeah. Can you volunteer people?
It's terrible. I like to So I used to have a whole panel of doctors and everything too. You have to kind of submit your case to the doctor, so they decide whether you can commit suicide or not. But you think about that whole theory, like it's illegal to commit suicide. Well, what are they going to do? You throw you in jail? I mean,
it's a crime. Yeah. Well, the worst thing you could ever do is get home from work and your wife says, "I made an appointment with Dr. Kevorkian for next week."
Remember him? What was that? Like the 70s or 80s or something?
Yeah, around the 80s. Yeah.
I remember because I was in Michigan at the time. He was in Michigan. So it must have been, it must have been 90s or something too. Man, that's
it's a whole weird topic to go down that rabbit hole because there's so many different things you can do.
And you're right. I'm glad you said that. I should be very careful when I bring it up like that flippantly, because there's a lot of people out there that do think of hurting themselves, and so I don't want to make it seem like it's funny. But
no, but you know. So we had our final game of the season Saturday. We played the Warriors played South Brunswick Police Department. We had a really nice crowd. It was a lot of fun, and the guys, I think we won 7-5.
Yeah, I saw the picture. You had two guys on one on each side. They were wearing the flip flops, and you had boots on.
Well, it was opposite day.
It was opposite.
It was opposite day. Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I got to dress for success. I'm gonna be on a bench.
That's true. Yeah, you can't have flip flops on the bench. You get stepped on. Somebody steps on your toes on the bench. You're in trouble.
You got a big problem.
Well, it was National Donut Day last week too.
I missed it.
Yeah, I know.
It's a national day every day of the week. If you could just Google National Day for this day, you'll find something.
Yeah, there is. I think you actually apply for people apply for a certain
probably yeah. Well, it's marketing. It's just marketing. It's to get you to go buy the product. Yeah. When they're gonna have to have National Tom Laidlaw Day. That's what I think.
Seriously, when will that happen?
Yeah, that should happen. We got to organize that.
Right. Had another event. We were down in Lower Manhattan on Friday night. DraftKings is a big sponsor of the New York Rangers, and they put on these dinners to like their big spenders. They bring them in and have dinner. And we're up on the 60th floor of this restaurant. I can't remember the name of it now. And like big windows. And I walked in there. I was like backing up to the wall.
I don't do well. No, me neither, Tom. I went once to the top of the Trade Center, and I don't know if you remember, it was like the top. There was a restaurant. Yeah, obviously, and there was one wall that had like all museum, like artifacts and stuff. Right. I was like, I couldn't even open my eyes.
I think I've gotten worse that way too.
Me too. Yeah.
You know what I think? For me, it feels like it's a control thing. Like I feel like I'm going to fling myself out against the window or something. What is that?
I don't know. Me too. Yeah, same thing. And yet, when I'm a jet, you know, 30,000 feet, you look down and it doesn't even look real. Like, but you realize that you really sat there and thought about it. I'm pretty sure you wet yourself.
Oh man, yeah. Like even a terrible turbulence, it doesn't bother me at all. But I'll go up like the escalator. At Costco here in Portchester.
It's going this way.
Oh, but they got the glass sides on it, and I got a full sweat going by the time I'm
on. Too. Yeah, everything tightens up.
And I think myself like, and even so when I drive, my reaction is to go over to the center lane, so I'm not over a bridge.
Too.
I should say.
Oh, Verrazano Bridge.
Oh man! But I'm trying to do my best to stay on the outside, like suck it up. But I'm breathing heavy. I'm doing the box breathing and everything. It's like, oh my God,
it doesn't work.
Oh, geez,
enough for that. Yeah, like
what is the cause of that?
I think it's genetic. Maybe some people bothers, other people doesn't. You know, it's just the same thing. Like when I'm not cool with snakes, I see a snake, I'm like, hey, I'm out of here. Yeah, other people doesn't bother. You know,
yeah, okay,
it's a survival instinct for sure.
Wow. I think I had this discussion with that woman, Jackie Long, that was the hypnotist. And I think we did go over it. She did give me a reason. I forget what she said. I'll have to recall. Oh man. So what do you got? So you got your trip out to Utah.
Yeah.
And then do you travel any other time? You go to your brother-in-law's out in Long Island, right?
Correct. Yeah. I might go out to see a friend of mine in LA in July. And also while I'm there, he won't see this because he doesn't watch the thing, but you know the little boy Marshall I trained in LA?
Yeah, yeah.
So what I'd like to do is have his dad set up on Sunday, like we usually meet, the phone, have him out there, we're hitting the back, and then I'll just walk in the backyard.
Oh, cool.
Say, what's up, man?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Hold on. It was Barry Shelley. You got some important news here. National Flip Flop Day. It was May 31st.
There you go.
Did you know that? Did you know
that? No, but I'm going to mark that in my calendar from now on.
I have to look at my calendar and make sure I realize all these days. Yeah.
So it was just so you know, it was so great because the last practice we had worked out on a little bit of a structured breakout because most of the guys didn't play organized hockey, God bless them, but you know, so they're very hungry to learn just some stuff. So we did it just, you know, up the wall and center skates to the board, bump it up kind of thing. First shift the other night, like tic-tac-toe.
Oh, nice job, coach. Nice.
Yeah. And then of course it was back. Actually, there was a lot of good some playmaking at their skill set and their level. I was pretty happy for it. Yeah.
So a lot of these guys had never played hockey before.
No. Yeah, a lot of them did not play any hockey. Oh. I have maybe 4 or 5 guys that played travel, maybe a little higher level or something. But in general, they were all either just recreational players or whatever. So.
Well, very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Barry Shelley's on fire here. Today, it's time to break out flip flops and get ready to celebrate National Flip Day. Oh, okay. This day is created to celebrate the fun, carefree spirit of summertime. History goes back to 4000 BC. Oh, wow.
Oh, Jesus rocked them. Good for me.
Did. Yeah. We've talked about this before. I've got exposed to a little bit more like a relationship with God. Are you religious?
Internally. You know.
Internally. Right. I realized how naive I was about God, I still am about God and all the different religions. Now I'm talking to people more about it. Yeah.
Again, it's a very difficult concept for everybody. Everybody has their own interpretation of it.
Yeah.
I think the best one I heard was, and this kind of, I'm guilty of it. When I play golf, every bad shot I take, it's God's fault. Hole in one, all me. That's all me. Totally me.
Well, that's it, right? Like the really devout Christians really believe that God is responsible for everything, good and bad, right?
Well, I guess that's the thought you have to have if you believe in a superior one person, one power. They kind of made all this so they can control it,
Right. I was
again,
I took a Uber down to the city for that dinner, and he was Muslim. The driver was Muslim, so we got talking about his religion.
Yeah.
He's very interesting. He was very good. He's very open about accepting other people's beliefs, but he had his very strong beliefs as well.
Well, there's a lot of people, not a lot. There's some thought that we're in a simulation. Our entire life is part of some simulation.
Right.
And there's people that really have some belief in it and have some
So
good reasoning.
somebody's watching us living this life.
This is not real. This is all a simulation.
Oh, okay.
And my response to that is until you get punched in the face. And you
Yeah,
go,
really.
"Oh, yeah."
Well, and we have certain beliefs, right? Like for me,
Sure.
I have a hard time getting past how did we get started? We had to start from someplace, right? But that's how we believe that there is a start to something.
So exactly, I think that there's limitations on what we can think, and there's certain things that just we'll never understand until we do.
Right. So like there's the Big Bang theory. Well, what banged? Like what? Like there had to be some particle that.
Right. So it's something that we can't really wrap our brain, because before there was something, there was nothing. I mean,
we don't.
So I have a bottle of water.
Yeah.
It's got fluid in it. I pour it out.
Right.
Again, it's a little bit above our pay grade, but even the people that are at that pay grade, they don't know. It's all
theories, right? Yeah.
Theory. Yeah.
Like they go back in time, like in history, and look at like the dinosaurs and ice ages and all that. Well, there's a certain amount of guesswork that goes into that, right? I mean,
well, I think it's based upon there's guesswork. I think it's based upon fossils they find and all that kind of stuff. And that's why what I was mentioning before, that the way that gentleman, I'll forward it to you, explained. He used a football field to explain beginning of mankind to where we are now in terms of what we eat. Oh. And for instance, what we eat now is the last half inch before the goal line.
Okay.
That's the rest of mankind. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Because you think back, it's easy to say this now too, that cell phones, for example. Well, 50 years ago, nobody would have dreamed. Well, I guess maybe some scientists thought that they could do that, but
even when you and I were kids, we didn't take a potato wrapped in plastic and stick it in a microwave.
That's true.
It didn't exist.
Yeah.
And yet now it's it's common.
Even color TV. I remember going to the kid on the farm there. And my father went and got us a color TV with the clicker and everything. It had two buttons. They went on/off button
and the remote.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're the remote.
Well, when we got my dad was an electrical. He worked for electrical engineering, but part of the business, he worked for a big company. They also had a supply business, and people could buy retail. So we had this Admiral TV, which I think 24 inches, which is small, but it's a piece of furniture.
Yeah.
And it was color. And the neighbors, like a couple houses, came over because we watched, I think, Cinderella in color. It was the first thing we've ever watched. You remember the peacock and all that kind of stuff. But now you got it in your palm.
Oh, I know. How about like the TV trays? Did you eat off the TV trays? The foldable TV trays?
Yeah.
We actually had those TV dinners too, right? They're in the tin foil. They heat them up.
Yeah, we didn't really do a lot of those. We did once in a while.
Yeah.
But the tray, you could never get it to actually sit right.
And then the dog's walking around bumping into it.
And it's so wobbly. And then you get your hand caught in it when you try to snap it. Yeah, it was a dangerous experience for sure. Yeah.
My mother, God rest her soul, I loved her. She's a fantastic mother to me. But I guess she didn't cook until we came along as kids. Like she knew what she was doing. Like she made a roast. There was no pink left in that roast. All it was brown. I'll never forget. She made great gravy though, fantastic gravy. And she would be at the kitchen still. My father and my sister and I'd be at the table. Go, Dad, we can't eat this. This is too dry. She's put more gravy on it.
Someone prior to my life made homemade lasagna one time. God bless her, sweet woman. But I said, "Hey, did you boil these noodles first?" No, are you supposed to boil the noodles first? I go, yeah. She just put the hard noodle down, the cheese and the sauce, and piled it up. Yes, it was. But
it's the same thing. My mother, she made baked beans, but didn't soak the beans. So it was like chewing on a gravel. I mean,
Gravel.
she learned. She learned after a while. Yeah,
Well,
she
I
actually
mean,
had- yeah. Go
I
ahead.
made macaroni and cheese for the kids when they were little from scratch. I didn't know. I bought Velveeta. I melted it. I made
Oh,
pasta. I put it together and I gave it to the kids. I go, hey guys, how's the macaroni and cheese? And I don't know if it was Sean or Ty, but they go, more like macaroni and glob because it's just kind of all congealed into this. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you still use wood stick? Yes, I do. It's you know what, I forget about it sometimes that I've got the wood stick. I go out there and the kids are like, "Can we touch that? Can we?" Like they're going,
Well, I know the very first time that using these composites, my elbows in here because it's just different. You know what I mean? It's so light.
oh
Like
yeah,
that nerve in there would get a little jacked up.
yeah, definitely. Well, we've covered a lot of like very important information here that people just
Universe,
right?
wooden sticks,
Mac and cheese.
and most important, don't touch the receipt. Whatever
Don't
you
touch
do,
the seats, yeah.
the BPA's, yeah.
And that's what the BPA's do. They make your
Well, that's one of the things, and there's a lot.
Well, that's
of
that's
thought.
the only important thing. What can be more important than that?
There's this big discussion now. I mean, everybody you meet in the gym now is doing testosterone replacement therapy.
Yep.
How did we get to this point? And there's been like a 40% reduction of testosterone levels in males in the past 50 years. That's a 40%. It's a huge number.
Right.
And a lot of it is in our environment because we were drinking out of BPA before they discovered this as kids.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, so it isn't just because of the age factor that your testosterone drops.
No.
It's just
I'm talking
in general.
Yeah, in general, it has dropped. I mean, there's other contributing factors, but that's our environmental toxins is a major cause of it for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we've had this discussion before, and I don't want to condone the use of it, but there's a lot of people who really believe testosterone replacement therapy can be very helpful for you too, especially as you're getting older.
Yeah. Okay. So the difference is if you say, someone our age, an acceptable level would be somewhere between, I don't know, 5 and high, middle 600s, right?
Right.
And if you're at 200 or 100, yeah, you need to do it. The problem is that it's become a thing, not with everybody, but with some people, where instead of getting to 700 or 550 or 600, they want to be at 1200.
Yeah.
Which is, that's abusive. You see a guy, no, I'm not doing steroids, I'm doing TRT. No, you're doing steroids.
Yeah.
So it's all a matter of choice. But if you're deficient, you absolutely need it. You'll sleep better, you'll heal better, you'll feel mentally better. Emotionally is a big difference.
Don't you think a lot of aging occurs because your testosterone level is low as well?
It's part of it. And part of it's a natural process, but you don't want to be so deficient that it's impinging upon your health.
It goes back to quality of life, right? If you can do something, and again, I want to be careful. We're not condoning this testosterone replacement. Now, it is, you can get it done legally. You get a prescription, you go to a doctor.
If you go to a endocrinologist and he does your blood work and he says, hey, you're low with free testosterone. And by that, they mean what's available, which can actually be used. And my good friend, Dr. Tony Ricci he would be someone to speak to about this. He's down in Florida. I forget the name of the school, but he's really totally sharp on this subject. But the fact is that you often also wonder if this has contributed to a subtle change in male behavior in our country now.
Right. Yeah, because if you're taking testosterone replacement therapy, you should be taking a estrogen blocker, correct? Because that raises your estrogen level at the same time.
Yeah. So I don't know exactly but we do know that if you introduce too much testosterone into your system artificially, or you supplement too much, that your own process will shut down.
Right.
And then your estrogen levels rise, and that's where you get the man boobs and.
You've been politically correct today. Are you running for office or something like that?
I'm already the captain of the universe, Tom. I'm good.
Good point by you. That's it. And this is just the first. This is just the first universe too. There's 17 of them now.
This is a warm up, man. Yeah. I'm in the bullpen.
Keith Morano here.
My boy.
How's this? Was this your guy?
Yeah, he's a great guy.
I would be a walking zombie if it was for TOT. I was at 120 now.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
So there's an example of why you should use it. 125 is so low that you almost have to use it, right?
It's dangerously low. Yeah, absolutely. No, Keith's Navy. He's one of our newer guys in the past year. Tremendous human being, great family.
Thank you, Keith, very much for your service. Very honored to meet you.
Awesome dude.
So we should start reminding ourselves all the time. August 19th is our Swim
Seal
across
swim.
the Hudson?
Yeah.
Seal swim.
Yeah.
And again, if you guys you want to have a fantastic time, very
Mhm.
emotional, patriotic day, you go to Lower Manhattan when they get out of the water. If you want to see them before they get in the water, you go to Liberty State Park, correct?
Yeah. It begins at Fallen Tower Memorial. And in fact, just got an email from Bill last night updating on what's current. And there's going to be a bunch of people jumping in from the sky. It's going to be really cool.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Very cool.
Yeah.
Bill being Bill Brown, the retired
Bill Brown,
Navy SEAL
yeah.
that put this whole thing together. Good friends with
Yeah.
Mark Puttenvink.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. I'm glad to see he's posting a lot of stuff. He's glad to see he's got himself a lovely. They're not married, are they? His girl?
No, but yeah, he's just doing tremendous things, both personally with his family, and then, he and Jeff Gum were just on with General Mike Flynn, and they were being interviewed about the swim and a bunch of stuff. And
Cool.
Bill doesn't stop. There's no grass that grows under his feet. Every weekend, like last weekend, he did the Murph Challenge up Navy SEAL
He did
Museum.
that, did he? Oh.
Yeah, in Long Island. And just about every weekend he's either doing a swim or a run or something. He's so dedicated in his belief that the veteran community by large needs as much as we can do for them. And he just absolutely does it.
Yeah, and everybody doesn't know the Murph Challenge is that Sergeant Michael Murphy, who was
Mhm.
he was a Navy SEAL that was killed on was that 2005? Was that when that happened? I think it was. It was
Trying to remember now.
Operation Red Rings. They made the movie about it, Lone
Yeah.
Survivor. So, yeah. Apparently he's a big hockey fan too.
Yeah.
And I know you know this stuff, but it's Operation Red Wings. So I guess on every operation they name a sports team, name it after a sports team. So that was after the Detroit Red Wings, that operation. So.
Yeah, not every single one, but a lot of them are. I mean, Extortion 17, which was also a very tough event for the SEAL community. That happened to be when 9/11, the 20th anniversary of 9/11, coincided with the 10th anniversary of Extortion 17, and Bill honored it tremendously. That swim that year.
That's right. I remember they were talking about that. Yes.
And 23. All right. I'm sorry, 21.
Yeah.
2021. And had family members there. I believe, and Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the brothers who's also a SEAL of someone lost in Extortion 17 did the swim. And a lot of guys carried their weapons, have lost fallen friends, and so. Yeah.
Remember the service? They all got on their one knee, and I think it was a pastor or somebody made the service, and he got to the point where he says, and the Lord said, "Who should I call on?" And this one guy stands up. And I can't remember was it planned or not, but he stands up and he said with this booming voice, he says, "Take me, I'll go." Yeah. Man, the goosebumps were coming down, man. That was incredible the way that happened. Wow.
Yeah, no, I know it's an amazing event. Raises a tremendous amount of money for a really great. And this year it's Navy SEAL Foundation is.
And you know what I love about those guys too? There's a lot of things I respect and love about them, but these hard, men, like, they're real men. But they're intelligent and thoughtful. Like if you engage in a conversation with those guys, I mean, if they're going to take the time to talk to you, it's full engagement, right? They're not just passing the time. They're staring at it, like shaking your hand, looking in the eye. Great guys. They're
and the other part of it too, it's like being involved in athletics. I mean, they have such a brotherhood. It's so tight.
Yeah.
It's like you're still really great best friends with Larry because you guys played together. You shared.
Yeah.
It's not quite the same, but it is in a lot of respects.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, they go to a whole different level, and their lives are depending on their teammates. At least ours, who just are.
And this is something you and I have spoke about. And by the way, I'm working on organizing. I've been contacting people organized. As we age as men, we kind of get separated from that because we're not playing competitively sports, and maybe you're not still in the military or whatever that brought you together. I think it's a good thing to get everybody that are like-minded together periodically. It's going to sound crazy, but you need that male bonding, and it is genetic. It's a survival skill. That's how we were able to fight off woolly mammoths because we had male. So in any event, I think it's very important that that continues.
You keep acting like a man. I went through a stage here where I've tried to learn and make myself better, like talk about my feelings. Well, that's a mistake. I don't want to influence others. It's just I'm that.
Well, it's like Stu Grimson, right? God bless him, but he's a born again Christian. And he was being interviewed, and they said to him, "How do you justify or equate being a man of God and being a fighter in hockey?" He goes, "I fight for Jesus."
Oh God!
I just saw him last year, the Grim Reaper.
Oh, is that
in
right?
New Jersey. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I think he's working for the league now or something, or he's a scout. I forget.
Oh, I had to my second ex-wife. Yes, I've had two ex-wives. Her mother had passed away probably about a month ago. I had not heard about it for a couple weeks after, so I gave her a call, gave my ex-wife a call,
Mhm.
and we got talking. You know, I like because our marriage was fantastic. She wanted to have a child. I had made the decision not that more, so we moved on. But we remained friends, and we got talking more about our marriage. It wasn't like any bickering back and forth. I
Yeah.
said, well, I've really decided now to take a look at my feelings and all this kind
Mhm.
of stuff. She goes, oh, that's good. And she goes, yeah, because I can never talk to you. Like
Yeah.
it's like I couldn't be myself
Yeah.
for you. I felt so bad.
Yeah.
I think we were together we're married for 3, I think, and we're dated for probably like 6 or 7 years we were together.
Really?
Yeah. And she wasn't saying it to be in some bitter, vindictive
She was
way.
just
Just telling
It's an
facts.
observation. Well, the best story, Beth could tell you better than I, but her uncle, I forget which one it was at a funeral, and a woman came up and approached him. And he said, "You look really familiar." She said, "Well, I should. We were married for 10 years." True story. True story.
Oh, that's terrible.
That's classic.
Isn't that something? Like if you do
Yeah.
that to a woman, I had saw a woman just briefly for a couple of times. We went out, and there was nothing there. This is probably, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, whatever it was. And I was at an event, and this guy comes up. He goes, "Oh yeah, and I guess her name was Mary or whatever it was." He goes, "Oh yeah, I'm cousins with Mary. What's that?" And I couldn't remember who she was. But he goes back and tells her that I didn't remember who she was. She calls me up. And goes, "That's really nice. You can't remember me." So,
hey, I want to return real quick to the motivation thing.
Yeah.
So Goggins has his whatever motivates him. You have yours. I have mine.
Yep.
But apparently, for the Vegas Knights, the strip club that offered free lifetime lap dances. If
I
they
heard
win
about
the
that.
cup. Hey man,
I'm winning it. I'm coming back.
They should. I posted a picture of a really old guy with this little girl. I said Jack Eichel 2071.
All right, just so everybody knows, our other podcast is still going strong there. Full Change. Please listen, comment, share,
Support.
whatever you want to do. Support. Yes, have a lot of fun. A lot of great guests.
Yeah.
A lot of guys. We had the Mark Howe on. We had Bruce McNall, who owned the LA Kings.
Kings.
Recently. Yeah. He was an interesting story. He spent 5.5 years in jail. And I love the guy. He was fantastic to us. In fact, I called him when he got out of jail, and he was great. As he was in our podcast, he didn't blame anybody else. He just listened. Ultimately, I did it.
Ownership.
Yeah, took on road, so you can't do much about that. So, all right, everybody. Everybody have a great day. See you next week, Captain Universe.
Yeah.